just compromise. It's the chance of your life. Okay, try to be brave. You have so much to save. Take control of your own life. Right now, every mistake makes you feel like you're fake. Take control of your own life. Without any thought, I keep moving on. I don't even care if my soul is gone. So many words that I should have said. Not concerned about how to live instead. Just open your eyes and take my advice. Stop rolling the dice and just compromise. It's the chance of your life. Okay, try to be brave. You have so much to save. Take control of your own life. Right now, every mistake makes you feel like a fake. Take control of your own life. Nothing in life is good. Tired and beside.
What's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Looks like we got a few people looking on here, 8 right now. Cool. So, uh, thank you for joining me. 10,000 subscribers. Awesome, awesome stuff. Um, you guys get to join me here. I get to test out some live streaming software. So, this is pretty awesome. Let me know if you can hear me, if it sounds good, all that good stuff. But yeah, it's just kind of a way of me testing out this live stream software, hanging out with you guys, answering questions if you got them. So we'll kind of just go as long as we have questions, I guess. So let's see. The first thing I want to try out here is there is a way for me to put some of these comments on here on the screen. So let's see if I can figure this out here. Let's see if this comes up. Yeah, there we go. Cool. So the first question, how does one get training experience in cybersecurity? I'm in IT and was stuck in desktop support for over 10 years. The last 6 years, I've been in identity access management. Well, so IAM is a part of cybersecurity. So you are technically kind of already working in cybersecurity. So I guess it means what part of cybersecurity are you trying to get into? Um, there's a lot of different ways that you can go. What kind of certifications do you already have? That's an important thing, because as you start getting those certifications, you're going to start getting some of those additional skills. A lot of people start in the true like cybersecurity aspect. They go to like security operations centers, something like that, and they'll be like a security analyst, and they'll kind of just learn about packet analysis and kind of go through the ranks that way. Said cloud security. Okay, cool. So I would definitely look into things like AWS and Azure. There's a lot of different certifications that are with those. I would focus on those two specifically because those are going to be the major players. Obviously there's like Google and things like that, but I would stick to AWS or Azure first. Whatever your company is using, I would start with that one though. So if they're using AWS, start with that just because it's gonna help out. Okay, so Cloud Plus. Okay, cool. Yeah, you might also want to look at like Security Plus just to kind of get a little bit of taste of security. But definitely with cloud security, you're going to want to really learn those different environments. All right, so let's take that off. And we'll send this one. Let's see here. That didn't work. Let's try it again. There we go. Okay, cool. A lot of government contractors asking for active security clearances and you don't have one. Is there a way to start the clearance process before actually working for a company? So no, there's not. Basically, the only way that you can get a clearance is if you get sponsored by a company or military or what have you. So basically, you have a few options. You can, of course, try to join the military, which is a great option, or you would have to find a company that's willing to sponsor you. So sometimes they'll put like you need an active clearance or be willing to obtain one, something like that. That'd be a really good way to get one. There are a lot of different opportunities if you're willing to move. So depending on where you live in the country, I'm assuming this is in the United States, but it's going to be similar all across the globe. But there's going to be different pockets where you might have a greater opportunity of jobs that you could do as well. So I would definitely check that out and look for those or willing to obtain type of jobs. Let's see here. Another question that just came in. This cool. So how can I get a cybersecurity job without having work experience? Well, so cybersecurity is very difficult to break into as your like first technology job. It's not impossible. You totally can, but you're definitely going to have to start studying cybersecurity, studying different things like networks, operating systems, cloud. Really, anything you can learn is helpful. Are you in school right now, or what are you doing right now? Are you studying towards a certification? Really, I mean, if you can try to get a job in technology and like IT, then that's going to start getting you towards there. The first job is always the hardest to get. So once you start getting experience, then it's going to get much easier because you're going to start building these skills. You're going to start doing all the stuff that companies are looking for, and then you're going to just get more opportunities. Also, networking is huge. A lot of jobs that you can get are going to be based on who you know, not necessarily always what you know. So if you can do, you can go to like these startups or these like meetings that they have, different associations around your area, and with those you can meet people in the industry. Okay, so studying for a CEH course. Yeah, I mean, so really that's the idea is you just need to be studying and learning more as you go and just keep applying. Apply, apply, apply while you're doing it. Don't wait till you finish to apply. Just apply and then keep on studying, keep on learning. Because the more that you can add to your resume, the better, especially if you can show things. So, for instance, like with the CEH, if you can do like maybe a video of you doing hack the box or something like that, then you're showing what you're actually learning and what you're doing. And like try hack me and hack the box, they have those ranking systems. So if you're going through those, then you can complete some of the training and put your ranking, or you'll be able to put like your badge maybe on your resume, something like that. Just a lot of different things that you can do. Start a blog. Um, the more that you can show, especially when you're first starting out, that just shows an interest in the field. So definitely just definitely check that out. And then let's see, custom Americans. You're in Florida. Okay, going back to that question. Yeah, I mean, really all over the country. Florida, like the DC area. Um, if you're willing to go overseas, you can find stuff. There's a website. It's Clearance Jobs. Um, that you can definitely find stuff if you're willing to relocate. But I think in Florida, you should have quite a bit of opportunity, at least within the state. I'm not sure about specifically in Tampa, but you definitely should be able to find something in Florida, and especially the East Coast. A lot of stuff on the East Coast. So you shouldn't have to go that far if you have to relocate. Let's see here. Got another question here. All right. So, hey, John, on Security Plus 601, there are some cloud elements in it. Should we aim for that or take 501 still? Expires in July. So, this is a really interesting question. With every certification, it's kind of the same idea, right? There's about a 3-year cycle on a lot of these. And then they'll refresh the exam. They'll add new topics, they'll modify it, take away things that are no longer relevant. And basically, what happens is when that first that new exam comes out, there's not a lot of study materials that are originally there, right? So it takes time to make some of this stuff, especially if somebody does it good. And things like books and video courses, it all takes time. So when you pass the Security Plus, it's not going to say 601 or 501. So there's a lot of um, there's a lot more material to study from on 501, and frankly, it's probably going to be a little bit easier. They added a lot of stuff in 601, and especially because it's still pretty new, they haven't fully tested it, right? Like they're going to over time test it and they adjust the questions, make it easier, make it harder, whatever they have to do. And 501's already been out for a long time. So, there's a lot of people that have already gone through that exam, and if you can, if you can get through that one, honestly, you'll be okay because a lot of the stuff that you'll need, especially early on in security or just early on in your IT career from a security aspect, isn't going to be, it's not going to make a huge difference if you do 601 versus 501. So, personally, I would do 501 and just get it over with. Um, I think you'll have, probably an easier time with doing that. But, if you want the challenge of 601, I mean, that's fine. But just remember, when you go to an interview, they're not going to say, probably, did you pass 501 or 601? It's just, I've never been asked that question, which version I passed of any exam. So, kind of take that with a grain of salt as far as what you want to do. Let's see here. What else we got? That one up here. So, what can I study as far as network troubleshooting and cybersecurity? Because these particular questions stump me on interview questions. Well, there's several things that you can test. I mean, I'm assuming that this is more of an entry level kind of job that you're interviewing for. Um, with a lot of those interviews, unless they're very technical positions, which they aren't always, a lot of it is conceptual kind of information or kind of questions. I made a video on interview questions that you should know. That's on my channel as well, so definitely check that video out. Um, but as far as troubleshooting different stuff, I mean, you're going to want to know, the basic stuff. So, um, how do you test, if a link is down, doing things like trace route, being able to trace the path of packets and data, and being able to see that kind of different information. Um, I would also try to play around with Wireshark because Wireshark and TCP dump if you want to get a little bit more into the command line, because with that you're going to be able to obviously see more information, and you'll also be able to see just the whole packet. So um, you'll definitely be able to see things like the IP, the destination and source IP address, and you'll be able to see it traverse different networks and different subnets and things like that. So getting to know that is going to be really useful, especially if you go into a security operations center. You're going to need to know how to use Wireshark and how to do that kind of stuff. So I would definitely start cracking open Wireshark. Even take a course if you can find one, something on like Udemy or something like that. See here. Next question. So, is coding skill necessary for cybersecurity? So, it really depends on what kind of job that you have, right? If you're in a security operations center, you might deal more with code, especially if you're doing something like reverse engineering, or if you have to automate something. Um, the level that you need to know it, honestly, a lot of jobs, they're not going to require you to know super in-depth coding. It's a good idea to know how to read code, especially you know especially um, if you're going to be looking at other code, or if you need to review anything. Areas like penetration testing and possibly forensics, web application security, all that kind of stuff. Definitely, you're going to need to know code and how to read it, how to look for things that are issues from a security aspect. But honestly, if you know basically how to script out things, especially in like Bash or PowerShell or Python, that's going to be a lot of what most jobs are going to require out of you. So you don't have to be, a guru at coding, but I would definitely try to learn at least as much as you can, just to feel comfortable with it. because you probably will want to automate some things. I mean, there's a lot of things that we do, especially dealing with like documentation and stuff, that if you can automate it and make your life easier, it's going to help you out. So the more you can learn, the better. But you don't have to be a guru for most cybersecurity jobs and coding. See here. All right, tips for CEH exam. So when I took the CEH, see, it would have been in 2000. It was 2015. Um, so what I ended up doing was I got a subscription to CBT Nuggets, and I watched their videos, and then I also got like an all-in-one study guide. Um, Honestly, with a CEH, it's a lot of memorization, if especially right now, because now they've gone to where there's a multiple choice portion, and then there's like the practical portion. I forget what they call that half of it. And then if you get both, then you become like a CEH master or whatever. Um, but for the multiple choice part of it, at least when I took it, it was very much a memorization kind of exam. It's probably going to be pretty similar now because just multiple choice exams in general are kind of like that. Um, if you can, if you can really understand the concepts and when you would use certain tools and things like that, that's going to be the most important thing. Um, Honestly, too, I mean, like anything, the more you can deal with it or the more you can be exposed to the information, the better. So, if you really want to learn about hacking too, um, in addition to that, I would also, go on Try Hack Me, go on Hack the Box. Um, with CEH, they do offer the official courseware. I think it's a little bit more expensive, but I mean, they're going to give you the stuff that you need to know. So it kind of, just depends on if you want to go that route or if you want to get the, just like an all-in-one study guide and a video course. Let's see here. Yeah, Myers, just like I said, you're going to want to really focus on getting into Wireshark, because in those kind of jobs, the SOC analysts and forensics jobs, Wireshark is going to be really important. Being able to dissect packets is really, really important. Let's see here. Hey, Ian. Whoa, 3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, so the SIS course, right now, it's still, I'm still working on it. Still making the videos for it. So it is based on the 2018 revision. So that's the book and everything that I'm making it off of, the CBK that I'm making it off of. Good luck. I mean, the CISP course is, or the CISP exam is, it's a beast. Luckily for you, well, I'm not, I guess it depends on what language you're taking it on, I think still, but, the newer version is it's a little bit less than the version that I took, because I actually took the, 250 question, 6-hour exam, and that was exhausting. If you haven't seen my videos on how to pass it, check those out. I made a video how to pass it in 2 weeks, and I give you all the different things that I did to do it. Um, Good luck. Good luck. Once you pass that, it feels great. Let me tell you. All right, let's see here. Got another question. All right. So, COASA plus, Pentest plus, EJPT, which order to do first? Okay. So let's see here. Which order to do first? Well, so it's close. So EJPT is a hands-on exam. So which that just kind of makes it more challenging. But I've heard the Pen Test Plus is kind of difficult. So I mean, if you're specifically set on those three options, I would probably do the CYSA Plus first, EJPT, and then the Pen Test Plus. Um, Honestly, like if it was me though, I probably would do the CYSA Plus, EJPT, and then the ECPPT. The Pen Test Plus, I mean, I'm not sure how much value exactly you're going to get out of that long term. Um, and I guess it really depends on your budget, and how much time you have. But the Pen Test Plus is still, a multiple choice exam. Um, so I think you would get more value out of doing CYSA Plus, EJPT, and then ECPPT. But if you don't want to go that route and you want to do those three specifically, CYSA Plus, EJPT, and then Pentest Plus, just because I've heard the Pentest Plus isn't extremely easy. So it'd probably be a little bit harder than the EJPT. Let's see. Best cybersecurity man in the world. Thanks. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see. Greg, go ahead and ask your question, and I'll just keep going down the list here. All right. To complete a cybersecurity course in Cybrary, does it help to note that on your resume if you have no experience? Yes. So, especially early on, the more kind of relevant stuff and training that you can put on your resume, the better. Within reason, because you don't want a full page of just like Cybrary courses, because it's going to be overwhelming of information, and frankly, it's not going to look amazing. It'll just be an overload of information. But if you do like a cybersecurity course on there, I would put it on there, one or maybe two, and I would probably try to have an education section to kind of like additional training or something, to kind of put that onto the side, and keep it very limited how much you put in there, especially early on, because you know it won't look good if you have 1,000 courses on there. It'll just confuse people. See here. Oh, I love Monster. It's so good. All right, let's go here. All right, so do we get any internships after the CEH exam? And is there any websites for internships in cybersecurity? What are the main skills that we need while doing internships? So, by just passing the CEH exam, you're not going to get an internship. It's not going to be just handed to you. But it will help you look better when you go for internships, because especially early on, students aren't always getting certifications. So if you get a CEH, that's going to look good for you. How you can get internships? Think about companies that you want to work for, or that you would like to kind of evaluate from an employee standpoint, and go to their website. Look at their internship programs. Generally, they'll post everything that you need to know about it, and then you'll have to just find them on there. Every once in a while, for instance, in the US, we use Indeed as a job searching engine, or like LinkedIn. Every once in a while, you'll see internships that are on there, but generally they don't show up as much as they would if you go to the actual websites. I don't know why that is. Um, they just never seem to show up, at least when I was looking before when I was back in school. So, see here. I know. So, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell icon, all that good stuff. Hit the thumbs up to like this video, all the good stuff. Let's see here. Any tips for the Security Plus exam? Yeah. So, depending on which version you're going for, somebody had a question on Security Plus earlier. 601 versus the 501 version, and um, the thing I would say the most is get as much exposure to the information as you can. So, as much as you can hear it, as much as you can read about it, all that stuff will help you. On certification exams that I've taken, uh, like I'll try to find audio files or something like that and just listen to it, like when I'm going to work, when I'm on lunch, when I'm leaving work, going home. Um, I'm telling you, passively listening to it like that is super helpful. Um, it just kind of burns it into your brain. Um, but the more that you get exposure to it, the better. It will help you kind of grasp that material a lot better than if you're just, if you're just reading it real quick and then going on with your day. Let's see here. Right. Okay, I recently passed the Security Plus exam last week. Need help getting a junior entry level security role. I'm a systems engineer, also studying for the CCNA. Okay, cool. So, I guess the first question would be, are you applying to security jobs right now? And if so, are you getting interviewed? Um, as soon as you passed, after kind of that initial kind of excitement time period, um, you should just start applying with any certification exam. You pass it, you should be excited, and you should be on kind of that path where you just want to start applying. Um, the one thing that I would definitely say is, again, the more interest that you can show towards cybersecurity, the better, right? So if you can start reading about what's going on in the world, security events, things like that. That's helpful. Um, of course, learning about all the different technologies, networking with CCNA, cloud, all that kind of stuff is helpful. Um, you know, depending on how much experience you have, if you're kind of on that cusp where you're very close since you're already a systems engineer. Um, if you're working with cloud or even not, but getting cloud certified can be kind of a quick way, I feel like, to get into security if you're already at that technical level. A lot of companies are going into cloud. They're trying to adapt and get cloud in their infrastructure, and that's a great way to quickly move over if you can kind of master it or get a very good grasp on it, because not a lot of people not a lot of people know about cloud even still, or how to effectively use it in a secure way. um, let's see here. So say not getting enough traffic on your resume. Okay. um, have you had anybody look at your resume? um, you know definitely kind of look at the formatting. See, let's see here. A three-step interview in which the last step was the last two candidates, and the company chose the other candidate due to experience. Um, if you had the interviewers, like the hiring managers, like email or something like that, or even just the HR person, you could try asking them for feedback. If they can give you feedback, which sometimes they will, that can help you, right? Maybe there was some questions that you didn't answer correctly or something like that, or whatever the case may be. I mean, we've all been there. Um, but if you can get that feedback, then you can take advantage of that and improve for next time. So, if you can get feedback, that would be huge. Um, Again, with the traffic on your resume, um, are you going to any like networking events, like any kind of meetups? I mean, right now, obviously, with all the things going on right now, that's kind of difficult. But there are online things. There's different online conferences or whatever webinars, um, and if you can start to kind of network that way, that can help. Um, right now it's just kind of challenging with everything going on because people are trying to do a lot of things and it's still not certain how things are going to kind of pan out here. So there's a lot of uncertainty that's going on just in general. So I feel like it's a little bit harder, especially if you don't have experience, because it's just there's a lot of uncertainty that's going on. Here. Let's see, we're getting some more questions here coming. All right. So, hello, John. Would you suggest waiting until I have my CompTIA A plus certification before applying IT help desk roles? No. Apply, apply, apply. Um, I actually read an article earlier today that was talking about things that somebody wishes they would have known. And one of the things was that not applying to just jobs that are sound interesting or jobs that you want because you don't have the required experience. Well, there's a lot of people that are applying to jobs that don't have the right experience. And what happens is companies look at everybody that applies, and if they have somebody that's kind of close or that they think at least could fill the role, then they'll just put that person out of that candidate pool. If you don't apply, you have no shot. So even before the A plus, I mean, you can put on your resume something like currently pursuing or something like that. So it's very clear that you're studying for it, but that you're not certified in it yet. So I would just start applying. Don't wait. Throw that up there. All right, so I'm in school right now and I get my A plus certification by the end of the year. Any jobs besides help desk that can prepare somebody for a cybersecurity role? Yeah, I mean, really, a lot of different jobs will prepare you for cybersecurity. So, you know, really any job in IT is going to give you some kind of grasp on it. Kind of the traditional route is help desk into like an assistant administrator or network engineer kind of role, and then moving over eventually into cybersecurity. But it doesn't have to be that way. Really, whatever kind of job that you can get, and then just start working that way, will help you. Um, I especially early on, the more that you can apply to, the better. You don't know who's gonna call you back. You just don't. So, especially for whatever position, sometimes people are willing to take a chance. You could get an entry level cybersecurity job, right? If you get a security plus or something like that, that's possible. Um, I'm not saying it's 100% guaranteed, but if you find the right opportunity, the right company looking to take a chance, then it can definitely happen. So, really just apply when you are ready to work because you're in school right now. But if you're if you're looking to start right away, you get your A plus certification, just start applying. Apply. Don't don't let that hold you back. Um, you might not even get a call for a help desk job. You might get a call for a system administrator job. So it just really depends. Let's try one of these things out here. Cool. So if you haven't seen it, I have actually released a YouTube membership program. I started creating that last week, I think. And basically, kind of the idea is there's different levels that you can do. I want to start doing a little bit more live streaming. And with that membership program, if people join that, then that can allow me to, especially as this grows, can focus a little bit more on that. Um, going into those live streams and focus on a more limited audience, so you get more attention. And definitely check out those perks for the different levels. But just thought I'd throw that out there and let you kind of see that, especially as this channel grows, because we're already at I think it was 10,400 now, so we're getting up there now. Let's see here. So, any suggestions or tips to earn money in this field? Yeah, I mean, the more qualified that you can get, the more money that you can get. So, if you get that elite level and you have a very niche skill set, a very specific skill set, you can make a lot of money. Um, with a lot of jobs in general in cybersecurity, you can make a decent amount of money. So, really, just keep getting qualified, keep learning, do everything that you should be doing, and really you'll keep climbing the ladder. Don't get stuck in a certain job for a long time, because eventually you're going to get demotivated. And if you're done with one job, start looking for another job, try out something new. But keep looking for areas that you can advance, so opportunities that you can advance your career, make more money, and just keep climbing the ladder. Okay. Let's see here. Throw that up there. One wants to pursue audit, risk management, and compliance side of cybersecurity. So generally called the GRC, governance, risk, and compliance. A lot of organizations. Is there a specific cert that we should focus on? Work in a service desk environment now. Thoughts on where to start? Okay, so in service desk right now. So I guess, do you have any certifications right now? I mean, the biggest certification in the compliance, governance, risk, and compliance arena and auditing is the CISA or CISA. It's from ISACA, and so CISA, and I think it stands for Computer Information Systems Auditor. Um, that is going to be the best certification to get to go into that arena. Now, there's an experience requirement on it. It was 5 years, but there's a way you can get waivers as well for experience. But I mean, that certification is the best one that you can get kind of as you start to get experience. You can take it early too. You just can't get actually certified with certification before you have the experience. So I would start looking at that one, and it's really a lot. It's a little bit about technology. So I have the certification. It's a little bit about technology, but it's a lot about process and kind of the whole, a lot of the non-technical stuff, honestly. Because if you're an auditor, you're going to be auditing everything. Um, and then compliance, it depends on what area, like what industry you go into. There are some specific compliance certifications, like here in the US, we have the what is it, the QSA. That's what it is. But like, there's all these different certifications in certain fields or certain industries. Like the CAP from ISC squared is about um, the NIST special publication 800 series. So risk management framework and things like that. So it really just depends. But if you just want one that's really focused on that arena, then I would look at the CISA. Here. All right. So which cloud certs would you suggest attaining? Should we start learning AI machine learning? All right. So that's an interesting question. So with cloud certifications, um, it really depends on what way you want to go. So the big players really are, AWS and Azure or Azure. Um, Personally, I would lean towards AWS and starting to look down that path. Um, they have a bunch of different specialties and things like that that you can get into. Um, and, um, especially because of the environments that AWS goes into, I mean, it just is more, it seems like it's more geared towards developers and kind of those highly technical, very dynamic kind of environments. So I would look at AWS. If you specifically want to look at AI and machine learning, start looking at the specialties, and see what's in there, because that's probably going to be your best bet, at least where to start out. Um, you can kind of go from there. All right, so we got a super chat here. Let's throw that up there. So $3 from Hot Mustard Gas 20. Any tips on how to get into cloud security? Yeah, I mean, so I guess the first thing is, are you working right now? What are you working in right now? Um, with a lot of the cloud certifications, a lot of them you can kind of just start getting into. I mean, it helps to have that foundation of things like Network Plus and all that kind of stuff. Um, but really just start getting those cloud certifications. That's going to be the best way to do it. And then also start playing around with the cloud platforms. What I would do is I would pick a specific platform though. I wouldn't try to get all the different platforms. I would just pick one. Um, for me, if I was going to pick one, I would pick AWS. Um, but again, it kind of just depends. So, with a lot of the different stuff, if you kind of look at the companies and where they're implementing it, AWS is a lot of the, um, very developer focused kind of stuff, it seems like, at least as far as the companies where they're using it. And then when you have like Azure seems to be like a lot more of the infrastructure that people are starting to implement in the cloud. So I know that they have other stuff in there too, like different specialties and stuff too. But just pick. Let's see. Oh, you already have cloud certs like AWS Security Cert. Okay, cool. So, are you interviewing already for cloud security jobs? Cloud security, cloud. It's a lot about automation. So, especially, I would try to find ways that you can exhibit what you know. So, I'm assuming you haven't worked in cloud before. Um, so, the more that you can show what you know, so since you have AWS already, do you have an AWS account? Are you spinning up projects? Something like that. Because the more you can show, the better. If you can, do you have a blog? Something like that, or making videos. So a walkthrough video of how you did something specific in AWS. All that kind of stuff. The more that you can show, the better that you're going to look. Because if an employer just sees a certification and sees two resumes, they look pretty similar, it's going to be hard to distinguish between the two. But if you have a website with like a blog or some videos on there of you doing something, or you have something that you can show, that really helps out. Yeah, don't have a blog or GitHub though. Yeah, I'm telling you, look at starting that. See what you can do as far as that to show, because anytime with this is with anything, if you don't have experience, it's hard to get experience. In the jobs that are entry level that want experience, right? It's kind of the chicken and the egg kind of thing. Um, Especially with cloud because you can, with AWS, you can get that free tier and you can do some certain things like very low cost too. Um, and just the more you can show, the better, for sure. Let's see here. All right. Do you know a resource or company that reviews, revamps cyber technical resumes? Um, I do not. Um, I mean, so there are a lot of recruiting agencies that um, will put out job postings. I've never used one before, but I know people that have. And I think what basically happens is you get paired with like a recruiter or somebody that's trying to fill jobs, and they should be able to help you at least look at it based on what they've seen. Because remember, some of those people they're seeing a lot of resumes, right? So they're gonna know what people are putting in their resume, and that can help. Um, I do want to start doing that, and that's kind of part of the whole live streaming and 2021 additions to the channel and everything that I'm trying to do is I want to do things like reviewing people's resumes or trying to give that additional assistance because I've been through a lot of different revisions of my resume and I've got it to a pretty good place where it does have a good it's received very well. So yeah, stay tuned for that. That's definitely something that I want to start looking into more. All right, let's just keep going here. All right, so can you suggest some certificates after getting the CEH, which will be useful for career startup purposes? So if you're getting the CEH, I'm assuming you want to get into ethical hacking. Let me know if that's not right. But if you want to get into ethical hacking and you get the CEH, then you want to start looking at some of the practical kind of stuff, right? So um, the more practical certifications that you can get, especially with penetration testing, the better you look because those show that you've actually done something specific, even if you don't have experience. That's very valuable. Um, yeah, so you want to get into penetration testing. Yeah, um, so I would look at after the CEH, look at e-learn security stuff. So you basically have e-learn security, and then you have like offensive security. Why I like e-learn security is because it's a little bit more handholding, especially when you start out. I think that's more beneficial. Some people learn differently, and everybody has different experiences. But I personally like that a little bit more. They just kind of changed their structure because they were offering their training through their website. Now they're offering it through INE, which they're partnered with INE and they have been for a while. But now they're starting to offer it through INE, and um, I would look at the EJPT. That's a really good one for starting out, as well as the ECPPT, which is kind of the next step. You do have offensive security as well, but kind of the downside with offensive security is even though it's considered like a beginner level certification for penetration testing, it's not the easiest thing ever. And I know they just redid their materials, But previously, and I'm sure it's probably still like that, their motto is try harder. So they give you like a little bit of information and they expect you to research and find out more stuff. So yeah, like the OSCP, right? Um, so if you like just diving in and kind of, having to really struggle and hit your head against the brick wall for a while, the OSCP is good if you want to just go for it right after the CEH. But personally, I think that if I was to pick like the best route, so you get your CEH, I would get the EJPT, then I would get the ECPPT, then I would get the OSCP. And because ECPPT, you're going to have a lot of the information, a lot of that knowledge that you need for the OSCP. So you're going to have a lot easier time, getting that OSCP if you go through that same route. So the EJPT, ECPPT, both from eLearn Security, and then the OSCP. Let's see here. We get free training from INE if I purchase EJPT voucher from eLearn Security. Or do I have to purchase the course separately? So I think with eLearn Security now, I think the EJPT course is free. So I think you just have to sign up. And you go to the training page from the EJPT, and I believe the EJPT course now is that free course that they have. So if you buy the EJPT voucher, I think it's like $200 or something now. You should be able to get that course just by you go sign up and then get the course. Somebody let me know if that's not correct, but I'm pretty sure last time I checked that was one of the changes that they did, which is pretty awesome. Let's see here. All right, so moving on here. All right, so does it help to learn Linux for a job in cybersecurity? And if so, which certs would be helpful to have? Okay, so knowing Linux and cybersecurity or any IT job is very important. Specifically in cybersecurity, a lot of our tools, and if you go into like penetration testing, a lot of stuff is in Linux. So knowing it is extremely beneficial. What happens is a lot of people are like, they'll be like, I'm a Windows person, right? Because Windows is everywhere, and especially in a lot of businesses, especially traditionally in a lot of businesses. And so sometimes people are scared off by Linux. I like Linux because you can do things pretty easily natively. So like scripting in Bash and all these kind of things. If you get really good at it, it can be very helpful. Especially like the like storage servers and things like that. They tend to a lot of times be in Linux. So knowing Linux is important because you're going to run into Linux, especially with a lot of high performance servers and all kinds of stuff like that. Just knowing is important. But certifications, you don't have to have a Linux certification necessarily, but the Linux Plus from CompTIA would be a pretty good one. That will give you a lot of the information that you need. It'll give you more than you actually need for cybersecurity because some of the stuff you're probably not going to be configuring, but you'll need to know where configurations are stored, where the logs go, all that kind of stuff. If you check out some other videos that I have on my YouTube channel, I did do some kind of beginner Linux videos that will give you, some of the real basic stuff that you'll need to know in Linux. I would go a little bit past what I have in those videos so far, but that will give you a lot of good stuff of how to navigate and things like that that you're going to need to know. Let's see here. So if you don't know, on my website, I do have a bunch of courses that I put up. Every video that I put on YouTube, I'll put on my website. And kind of the big advantage of that is that you don't get the ads. I'm sure a lot of you get blasted by ads from YouTube. So you can get on there, see all my courses. There's also other courses that I don't put on YouTube, since YouTube is very specific on things that you can put. So, like hacking and just some of the other courses I don't put on YouTube. So definitely check that out. Let's go back here. Pretty cool. I like this live streaming software. I haven't really used it that much. I've played around with it, but it seems to be working pretty cool. Um, this seems to be going pretty well. So for a first live stream, it's going pretty good. So let's just keep moving here, and let's see how long are we on for. Hour and 6 minutes. Dang. All right. Let's see here. Put this up here. So doing the OSCP and the learning materials aren't that great. Yeah, I mean, that was a complaint that I had, because I've been through the course, and I'm going to revisit it because I came very close to passing it the last attempt that I had, and that's why I like to recommend the ECPPT before the OSCP, because I have access. I've bought the ECPPT course as well, and it teaches you so much better. Plus, it's much more engaging with the labs and stuff. You have to do a lot of research on the OSCP on your own, and it's hard, especially if you're not working in that field, and you're coming from scratch, or from relatively little knowledge. It can be really really hard. It's not that easy to just keep being told try harder, right? That gets annoying after a while. Um, but yeah, just look at the e-learn security stuff if you feel like you're struggling. Or there was also like try hack me and all that kind of stuff. A lot of those are very similar, kind of environments. So the more resources that you can do, more training you do, the better. Let's see here. So cybersecurity boot camps, are they really worth it? It depends. So boot camps. So the thing is with boot camps, a lot of them tend to be pretty expensive. So if you're just talking about like a CISSP boot camp, something like that, then you're probably going to spend a couple $1,000s on like a legitimate boot camp, maybe like $2,000 to $3,000. On the CISSP, I personally studied for it myself, just self study. Um, so is it worth it? It depends. I mean, for an entry level person, it can be helpful to have some extra hand holding, because generally they're kind of laid out, very structured. But it just depends. Like the SANS boot camps, those are awesome. They're pretty expensive because they're like $7,000 for one. So if you can get a company to pay for it, your employer, that's worth it. Um, but generally, on a lot of certifications, I don't generally recommend a lot of boot camps. So it just depends. You have to weigh the cost of the boot camp and the what you're going to get in return. So like what you're going to get paid, or the job placement, right? When you actually do it. If you think you can get a certification and you can get another, $20,000, and you only spent, like let's say $2,000, that's worth it. But you gotta be really sure depending on what your budget is, because that's a big factor, your budget. But the more you can get your employer to pay for it, the better. So if you can get your employer to send you to boot camp, take it for sure. Don't even think twice. Let's see here. Does doing the hack the box and try hack me machines, is it helpful for the resume? Yes. So with those different websites, first of all, Try Hack Me has a lot of training on their website. So you can go on there and you can get trained up on a lot of different stuff for hacking. and hack the box is a little bit more kind of on your own, but they're starting to improve that. Um, you can actually get on both of them. You can get like a badge that says like how many points you have or whatever. Basically, it's like a ranking kind of thing. And some people I know have put that on their resume. I guess it depends on how good it looks because be careful with putting in certain kind of images and things like that because sometimes it just doesn't look good. It looks weird. Um, but like especially if you had a website, you could put that on there as well, or even put like a link on your resume, something like that too, to profile page for those. Um, so but it helps with your knowledge too. So because that's something you can always bring up in an interview is I have try hack me account and I'm the top person in the in the world or whatever, right? Um, so it definitely is helpful. Let's see here. So I get. What do you guys think of the new setup? I mean, I'm sure you've seen some of my other videos and stuff. Um, so basically, there's been some changes to the environment for sure. Um, you might remember that I had like the foam stuff behind me. Uh, so I actually kind of flipped the room around. So this is a different wall, and then I moved the lighting as well. If you've seen some of my original videos from very early on, you might recognize some of this stuff on this wall. So like the bookshelves and the certifications. Those are my three GIAC certifications that I got. Um, and then it's a little bit lower so you can't see it, but then up here there's a few others for like CISSP and the CISA or the CISA as well. Um, but and then yeah, I have my computer here so you can see that. That kind of lights it up because you got to have RGB, right? You can't just not have something that looks cool. Um, and then also too, it's pretty cool. I don't know if you guys are noticing this or liking this, um, but this camera. So I added another camera. So and then you also notice too that I don't have that microphone in front of my face anymore. So I went from that the microphone, which I still have that microphone, but it's kind of frustrating because I had to reset it up every time and make sure that it was good and stuff. So I went from that microphone to shotgun microphone. So and then this camera here, the second camera, it's kind of on a slider, looking all cool. So just to kind of change it up, I wanted to want to change up the views, give you guys something a little different to look at here. So cool, Customs Americans. Thank you, thank you. It looks really good. Appreciate it. I appreciate it. Took a little bit of time to put everything together, but yeah, it looks cool too. So let's see here, up there. So yeah, the Red Hat certifications. Yeah, I mean Red Hat. It's used a lot in enterprises. So Red Hat or CentOS or CentOS, which is like the free version of Red Hat with no support. Um, I mean, definitely, definitely with the Linux certifications, it doesn't seem like there's as much demand, or at least like they don't list it as much. It definitely shows that you know what you're talking about when it comes to Linux, but it's interesting. I don't know if it's just because of like the Linux crowd because you meet a lot of Windows people all over the place, right? But then you meet the Linux people, like the hardcore Linux people, and it's just, it's just very different kind of personalities that really like Linux versus Windows. Um, but I mean, it still looks good on your resume. And sometimes it's hard to tell exactly which part of your resume is responsible for a huge part of your salary. But I definitely kind of just it happens with certifications, right? Like you get one certification, you think you're gonna go one way, and then you go a completely different way. So it's it does happen. Let's see here. So this next question up here. I've been studying for 3 years. I love cybersecurity. Started with a network. I started with network, next Linux, vulnerabilities, and etc. But when I try to capture a machine in CTF, I feel like I'm at zero. What should I do? Yeah, I mean that's that is an interesting thing. Um, CTFs are a different kind of beast. You're not the only one that's ever thought that for sure. That's what everybody's like when they first get into CTFs. It's like I don't know what to do. What? and uh, it. The thing with CTFs is the more experience you get with it, the better you get. So you learn um, what people are doing when they create them, because generally CTFs are kind of like a puzzle, right? Like there's little things that they want you to find, so then you can find something else, and you can find something else, and you can just keep going down this path. And that's how a CTF works. And um, so experience with them helps a lot. Um, are you so what kind of CTFs are you doing? Are you doing like hack the box kind of CTFs, or are you what kind of stuff are you doing? Um, but yeah, I mean, just trying to learn more, right? Um, okay, hack the box, yeah. So the thing with hack the box is very much a lot of times kind of on your own. They have like the forums where you can discuss certain boxes and things like that. And on YouTube, you have like IPSEC, who does who will go through the boxes on Hack the Box, and he'll do a walkthrough. And so watch those a lot. Um, I would try also looking at Try Hack Me, um, because Try Hack Me has courses that will help you. They have kind of the same idea, but it's a little bit more. Um, it provides more training to get you kind of going. So when somebody asks me, try hack me or hack the box, if you're from early on, like little experience, then you definitely I would recommend try hack me. You'll have a better you'll just have a better time. You'll learn more, and then eventually you can start going to hack the box, and you'll feel more comfortable. Um, but also to the retired boxes on Hack the Box, those are the ones where the write ups come up, because part of the terms are you can't put a write up for like an active box. It has to be retired. So just look at the retired boxes first. Start with those, and if you have to, look at the walkthroughs, watch the videos, and then eventually you'll just start to pick up the different things that you need to do, because it's still following a basic kind of methodology. So it's you're scanning, you're looking for the services that are open, you're looking at how to exploit those services. It's still kind of the same methodology, but the more you go through it, the better you'll get at it, for sure. Let's see here. So, are there websites that will allow someone to practice Wireshark on Splunk? Is that Wireshark or Splunk? Or I'm guessing that's Wireshark or Splunk. Um, but with Splunk specifically, their website, I believe they have like free user training, like basic user training, that you can get. Um, Udemy, Udemy is an awesome resource. There is some free stuff on YouTube as well, but the thing with YouTube with training, a lot of times it's not an extremely good learner experience because it's not a learning management system, right? It's not um, it's not meant to build out lesson plans. Basically, if you want to build out a course, it's a playlist, right? So it's just like picking different stuff. You can arrange them and stuff like that, but it's still just not the same. Um, so I would look on Udemy. Um, Generally with Udemy, there's a lot of sales and all kinds of stuff, whatever. You can get coupons and stuff. Um, so generally, you're gonna only pay like $10 for a course. That's basically what you're gonna end up paying. Um, so I would look on Udemy. Um, that would be a really good resource to check out. And there's a lot of good courses on there too. Just look at the reviews and just see which ones are rated good. Um, you can also too get a book if you want to read it. Then that's always useful too because you can reference it. Um, but with Wireshark, I'm trying to think. I think I got some book a while ago that was pretty, pretty small book on Wireshark on how to use it. Just from Amazon. But there's a lot of stuff for Splunk too, a lot of books. But I like to recommend videos and books. Kind of the two components because it'll just basically what happens is on certain aspects you might miss out in the video courses because sometimes the videos are a little bit more straight to the point, whereas books are almost always more in depth. Um, but it might be harder to piece together sometimes with just a book. So I would look at both. All right, I'm a software engineer from past 10 years trying to get in the security domain. Please guide me where to start. So, what I would do is in the description of this video, there is a link to a getting started page that I have on my website. And basically, I have a free ebook on there that you can sign up for. It you go to the thing, put in your information, and then you'll be able to download it. But on there, the ebook, I give you basically a roadmap of skills and certifications that if you were starting from scratch, that you would need to know. Um, if you've been a software engineer, not you probably have got some of that information already. So kind of just evaluate it. And it really depends on what part of security that you want to go into as well. Let's see here. You said the C. Let's look this up. CSSLP. That's from ISC squared, right? Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it just depends on what you want to do in security, right? Like, do you still want to be a developer, but just kind of developing security things? Um, Something like the CSSLP, um, that would be a good certification to get. Also, to something like OWASP and diving into security vulnerabilities of web applications, um, because a lot of things are in web applications now, right? That's where we need a lot of security developers, because what happens is a lot of developers they might get a little bit of security training, but there's always things that are missed, right? So if you can get really good at that, there's a lot of money, a lot of demand in web application security. Since you already have the development background, that's actually a very quick path into it. Um, yeah, I mean, that's what I would say. CSSLP, I mean, I don't know a ton about it necessarily, but I mean, ISC squared, they're very well known. So they make the CISSP, which is like the gold standard certification for cybersecurity. So it's a well-known organization. Their certifications always are looked at highly, and I I would look at that, but also look at OWASP as well. Let's see. All right. Can we get a job without having a degree and having 2 or more certifications? Yes, you can. Uh, so there's always that certification versus degree debate of which one is better. Do you need a degree? Do you not? Can you just do it with all certifications? And um, you can. I mean, it's possible, especially with a lot of the kind of technical jobs. And when you start wanting to transition into like management, that can vary because a lot of companies are going to want a degree for their managers. Um, Also, too, there are companies that you could run into artificial ceilings or limitations if you don't have a degree, and that's assuming that they'll interview you because sometimes companies just won't look at you if you don't have a degree. So it's possible, but just kind of be aware that is a potential issue. And then your follow up: is it possible to start up without degree? Yeah, I mean it's not mandatory to have a degree. There's a lot of people that are making a lot of money that don't have degrees, um, but you're gonna have to be that much better, right? Because again, there's companies that will not favor you if you don't have a degree, and so you just have to be that much better. Let's see here. So again, we've been going for a while here, so I'm not sure how much longer we're gonna go. But oh, and then looks like we got a member too. All right, cool. Pawan, is that how you say your name? Cool. Appreciate it. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, I'm excited for the whole membership thing. You know, it's gonna be cool. I'm definitely looking forward to kind of growing that out and growing everything out. 2020 was awesome. A lot of Pawan. Cool. Um, yeah, I mean it. 2020 was awesome. A lot of good things happened, especially for this channel, the community, everything. Obviously, we're over 10,000 subscribers now, and so I've had that in the plans of doing the whole membership thing, and I went ahead and did it. Um, why I hadn't done live streaming and things like that before was my internet connection was not very good. It it just oof, it was super slow. I tried it on my old connection, and it yeah like it was buffering like crazy. Like I could just not push out enough enough data. The download was okay. I think it was like I think I had like up to 150 meg download, but the upload was like I don't know up to like 11 or something was like the max I would get, and I was not getting anywhere near that. So I tried it just like on like a test stream, and it would just like buffer, and it it was not good. Like it was no good. So I finally upgraded. I should have done it before, but I kind of made the decision that I want to start doing live streaming and stuff like that, and starting like the membership stuff, and just trying to offer more, right? And so I upgraded, and so now basically getting like gig up, gig down, and I've had it for a couple weeks now, and it's just like it's crazy different. Um, so then I did some test streams and stuff like that because I wanted to test it out and make sure that it was good before started doing the membership stuff, just because of the stuff that I want to offer in there. And yeah, it's way different. Um, yeah, it's good. It's good. Yeah. Let's see here. So I don't have any certificate in cybersecurity. What can I do first? Um, so check out the description of this video. There's a getting started link to my webpage. It's got a bunch of resources. You can get my ebook. It'll give you a lot of information that you need to know as far as getting started and the different skills and certifications that you should get along the way. Um, Plus, you can check out all my beginner videos that I've made. There's a link on that. There's a link on that page as well. So it'll take you to the beginner section of my YouTube channel because I've divided it out. So there's things like beginner section, intermediate section, advanced section. Because again, I'm just building out more content in there. And if you if you go there, um, you'll you'll get some good information as far as where to start um, and kind of the skills that you should be expecting to get. We have someone tell you your tasks that you need to perform at your job. Yeah, I mean, in your job, if you don't know what you're responsible for, that's a failure on your employer, right? On your employer and your manager and your supervisory chain. Um, Now, that's not always the case because there's going to be things that, like, especially in security, you're going to be looking for ways to improve things, right? Like that's just it's not going to be necessarily in your job description probably, but as just a natural habit, you should be looking uh, to improve your job, improve your department, improve your company, right? And but you're gonna know like the basic stuff that you need to do, right? Like, well, you should, because if you don't, that's not a good sign. Um, but you're gonna know, what am I responsible for? It's like, okay, I'm getting tickets, and kind of when do I pass them off? Um, Hopefully, you have some like run books or playbooks or standard operating procedures, SOPs, uh, things that you're going to know what to do. And with that being said, when you're in your job, if you find things that need to be improved or things that are missing, so maybe you go to your job and you find out that there's no SOP, there's no standard operating procedures, so SOPs. Basically, it's a procedure guide of how to do something, so kind of like a tutorial. So if I came into a job and I had a standard operating procedure of how to create a backup, right? It should be very detailed and it should say exactly how to do it where somebody brand new that can just walk through it. Obviously, it's gonna be for a certain skill set. So like it's gonna be implied that it's a junior security analyst or whatever. But if you don't have those, what I recommend and something that I've done before is that you start asking questions of how to do whatever, right? And then you start documenting it out. And when you document it out, make it very detailed. Have screenshots in there, um, because then you're adding value to your company, to your department, to your team, and those kind of things help. And it might not be initially like recognized, but if you get new employees, then new members to your team, then they're going to thank you because now they have documentation that they can take and what I recommend too usually is when somebody new comes on and they take that document and they start adjusting it because they're the fresh eyes, so they're going to have the best perspective from somebody new, and but they're just going to be able to take it and start running with it and do certain procedures. They're not going to have to do the same thing that you did. So then, if you haven't been recognized already, then you'll start to get recognized because somebody will be, brand new and they'll just be able to check it off that procedure. So, but yeah, you should have a decent idea of what your general tasks are going to be. Let's see here. Let's see what else can I test here. Let's see. Tested a lot of this stuff already. mean, so I know I asked this before, but I'm sure we've had some people come and go. What do you guys think of the new setup? If you've seen some of my other videos, it's obviously a little bit different. We got all this stuff here. Check out the merch shop. If you haven't seen it already, I do have a merchandise shop. I want to start adding some more designs to that as well. But got the phone cases, got the coffee mugs, shirts, all that kind of stuff that you can get in that merchandise shop. The link is in the description, but johngood.com/merch, so MERCH, and it's through Teespring, so it'll redirect you. But there's supposed to be a way that I can put it right below the video. That I'm still working on trying to figure out that. Just because I don't know why it says it's linked, but it's not showing up. I don't think yet. Um, but yeah, so a lot of cool stuff going on. Let's see here. And that. So the most common task I perform at my job. So in security, it really, really depends. Um, so in a lot of jobs that I've been in for security, I've dealt with a lot of different stuff. So I've worn a lot of different hats, and it really varies a lot. Um, if you, and really that's with a lot of jobs in cybersecurity, not just like my job. Um, but for instance, if you work in, let's say, penetration testing, right? It's a more niche, more narrowed area. So you're just going to focus on some kind of penetration testing, most likely, web apps or mobile or whatever. Job like mine, I deal a lot with compliance stuff. So validating configurations, uh, creating documentation, kind of everything, right? If something has to be configured, maybe I have to configure some kind of security tool or component. So just it really varies on what kind of job you get into, which is cool. But then there's also the more narrow jobs too. So if you work, basically, think about the kind of company that you would want to work at, right? So if you work at a large company, then you're going to have probably a very narrow job responsibility. It's going to be a lot more kind of siloed. You're going to be very focused. If you go to a small company, then you're going to probably have a lot of responsibilities, and it's not going to be as focused. Um, it's just kind of how it is, because smaller companies are not going to have that huge budget, and so the team is going to be smaller. You're going to have a lot more responsibilities. You might even be, like a system administrator who has to do all the security stuff as well. Um, the larger companies, they got a lot of budget, a lot of different teams, and you can have a huge security staff, right? Uh, but yeah, it really just it depends. Depends on the job, depends on the company size, and yeah. So it really kind of think about that when you're looking at jobs too, right? So what kind of experience do you want to have? You want to have that general experience in security where you're wearing a lot of different hats, you're doing a lot of different things. Especially early on in your career, that can be very useful because then you're going to get exposure to a lot of different stuff. Um, if if you want to really focus, you're probably going to want to go to a larger company or even like a consulting company where you're in a very focused role. So it just kind of depends. All right. So have you ever felt scared about deploying new security devices or software? So, I mean, I would say sometimes you might be a little bit nervous just because the thing is, with technology, things are going to break, things are going to go wrong. It happens. Oh, does it happen? Um, but the thing is, you want to be in a place where you've tested it enough that you know basically what's going to happen, right? Like you might not know exactly what's going to happen because even in a test environment, there's things that aren't going to happen because it's just, either not as used of a network or, things are just a little bit different. But that's why you want your test environment and your dev net environment. Um, you want it to mimic your production environment as much as possible because if and that's assuming that you have both. Sometimes you don't have both. Sometimes you might just have a production network, and then you got to be really, really careful because depending on what it is, it could take down the network. That would be really bad. Um, and you're probably a little bit more nervous in that situation. Um, but ideally, if you have multiple environments that you can test something on first, and then you feel comfortable with it, you know what's going to happen, and then you start pushing out to your production network. What happens a lot on security software um, is sometimes they have like a test mode. So you can actually, so if let's say you have one network, it's just a production network, you can turn that test mode on, and then you can test everything out, and ingest data and everything, and basically deal with it like it's live, but it's not really impacting anything. Um, and that can be very useful if you have that. Um, and especially, it depends on what you're testing too, because um, sometimes uh, sometimes you want to start very small. Like let's say you're looking at like a sim tool, and you're going to turn on like file integrity monitoring. So, monitoring specific files or folders or locations, things like that. Well, I mean, obviously, there's things that you want to monitor on a system, but if you turn something like that on and you just turn it on full, so it's monitoring everything, you're going to get just blasted with information, and that can be really bad. If you turn that on to, let's say, a network of like 10,000 nodes, and you're monitoring now everything for file integrity, you very well could have problem on your hands where it like takes on a network or overloads it, um, because like with Windows, when you do updates, like a lot of things are changing, modifying, all that kind of stuff. So you have to be very careful, and you have to narrow it down. So maybe if you were going to do that, you would look at like one system or a handful of systems, and then slowly ramp up. It's a phased implementation. You don't want to really with anything. You don't want to just turn it all on and just go for it, because especially in like large networks, like it can be really bad if if you cost your company money or like take down the network. That can be really, really bad. Uh, it, yeah, that you don't want that resume bullet point that you turned on everything and then you crash the network. That's not a good thing. So you got to be very careful, and that's too why more junior members on your team, why they don't have as much access generally, because you don't want that junior person to have all this access and then flip the switch and then they crash everything. So and that's with a lot of jobs too, like help desk, whatever, help desk, network administrator, network engineer, system administrator, security, whatever. So yeah, you're probably going to have a little bit more limited access when you first start out, just to help kind of bring you along. So let's see here. So it looks like that was all the questions. We went hour and 45 minutes, almost 2 hours. So, I think this went really well. I want to thank you guys all for guys and gals for stopping by, asking questions, participating, helping me test this software out. Um, again, if you haven't subscribed, make sure that you subscribe. Uh, hit the bell icon so you don't miss future content. Smash the thumbs up to like the video. All that standard kind of stuff. Uh, check out all the links in the description. Check out my website. Check out the YouTube membership program, all that good stuff. I do want to start doing live streams more, so keep a lookout for these. I'll do community posts and things like that, and just keep everybody updated. But I did really like doing this. I want to do it more, and just keep providing you guys with more stuff. So that is it for now. And until the next one, I will see you guys later.